Stay safe. Get the first alert. Download the KOCO app. Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 9.
Oklahoma County Commissioners meeting this morning to discuss a settlement over the deadly opioid crisis. The details of those settlements and what's happening today still to come.
Today is the last day for people in Norman to request debris pickup after last month's storm. We'll have the deadline and how it all works.
And we'll speak live with Oklahoma's House Speaker Charles McCall to bring you the latest from our state's capital. But first, we want to start this Monday saying good morning, Oklahoma. It is 9 o'clock. I'm Kylie Walker.
I'm Shelby Montgomery. We're here with meteorologist Jonathan Conder, and it is officially spring in a few hours. I guess it'll be officially spring, but today is the first day of spring. Temperatures...
Yeah, they are breezy. Yeah. Temperatures are
a little cold
cooler.
this morning.
It's brisk.
But it's breezy out there.
It is, and the winds are just going to get stronger. So step outside. This is what you're looking at here. And by the way, the equinox, if you want to put an alarm on your phone, 4:24 this afternoon for Central Daylight Time. Wind chills, though, still below freezing, 29 for OKC, 30 in Enid, 26 over in Hobart. Temperatures are coming up now. We dipped down to 32 for a low this morning. OKC, we're now 39, 37 Stillwater. Looking outside, thin high clouds starting to filter in. Eventually will turn mostly cloudy this afternoon and mostly breezy, which are already there. So south winds 20, 25, 30, just keep going up all day. 57 for a high, and then the winds will stay up tonight. So breezy, well, for the first half of the week, at least through Wednesday. Highs today will be in the mid to the upper 50s. Radar is pretty quiet over Oklahoma. Our next storm system, those showers, they're moving this way, but that's not the actual showers that move into Oklahoma. That's a storm system that moves in. Our rain will develop overhead. 60% chance for OKC. Now that's just rain tonight, no snow, no severe weather. Big warm up is coming, but that also means we have risk of severe weather. I'll highlight that coming up here in a few minutes.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Breaking news, the northbound lanes of I-35 just north of Northeast 50th Street in OKC closed right now due to a crash. This is a live look right here from our crew at that scene.
Yeah, OHP says the road was closed at 8:20 this morning, and we, of course, will continue to monitor the situation and bring you the latest details as we learn more. But for right now, avoid that area, find an alternate route if you can this morning. And happening now, a step forward in our state's battle against the deadly opioid crisis.
Earlier this year, we told you about new settlements with major companies like Walgreens and CVS. KOCO's Audrey Goodson joining us with the details of those settlements and what's on the agenda today.
Those 4 cases include drug maker Allergen as well as pharmacy chains CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. Those settlement agreements total more than $226 million, which brings the full number Oklahoma has received from opioid makers and distributors to more than $900 million. Today, Oklahoma County Commissioners will meet to discuss their role in this and sign a resolution approving the settlements. We talked with the former Oklahoma Attorney General about how that money will be used, and he says that nearly all the funds must be used to remediate the crisis and hopes that a fraction will go to researching non-opioid painkillers.
Right now at Oklahoma State University's medical school here, they have a center that is very effective, and they're working actually on developing a non-opioid pain killer.
Between 2016 and 2020, more than 3,000 Oklahomans died from opioid overdoses. That meeting just started here at 9 o'clock, so make sure you're sticking with us for all of the latest updates. Reporting from Oklahoma City, Audrey Goodson, KOCO 5 News.
Developing now and only on 5, a car crashes in Edmond, and now police are tracking down the driver and its passengers.
Yeah, we learned this happened at the intersection of Edmond Road and Santa Fe around 1:30 a.m. And according to reports, after the crash, multiple people tried leaving the scene. No word yet on how many people were in the vehicle at the time or why they tried to leave. We know the crash has been cleared, and we expect to learn some more details this morning. And new this morning, one person is dead after a vehicle failed to stop at a stop sign south of Seminole. This happened on Highway 377. A driver and 2 children were heading south when the car pulled out in front of them, causing the crash. The driver of that car and 1 passenger was rushed to the hospital. The other passenger, a 59-year-old woman, died at the scene. No other people or children were hurt. The crash is under investigation. And state troopers are also investigating another deadly crash, this one involving a person who was hit by a car. It happened early yesterday morning in the westbound northbound lane of I-44 on the Turner Turnpike, just 4 miles west of Chandler. We know 2 vehicles were involved, but no word yet on how this accident happened. OHP says the victim died at the scene.
Also developing over the weekend, one person shot after an alleged road rage incident. This happened near Northeast 23rd and Prospect. Investigators say one person was shot in the hand, and that's when police were called. No word yet on if the suspect was taken into custody. We expect to learn more later this morning. A reminder for the City of Norman utility customers, today is the last day to request storm debris pickup. The city started this service almost 2 weeks ago after the town was hit by an EF2 tornado. This is available only to residential properties.
We're going to come pick it up at the curb. We're going to dispose of it. We're going to haul it and dispose of it. And all of that is a free service provided by the city.
Requests must be submitted by 4:30 this evening. The last day for debris pickup is Saturday, April 8th. Also, for those affected in Cheyenne, the First Baptist Church still has items available for those in need. Clothes, houseware, furniture, cleaning supplies, and so much more. The church says that the last day to pick up those items will be March 23rd. Everything is first come, first serve, and free to those in need. For the first time in history, a former president of the United States may be indicted for a crime.
And as a grand jury investigation into crimes alleged to have been committed by Donald Trump is set to end, the former president bracing for a possible arrest while law enforcement at every level prepares for the protests that could likely follow. Gloria Pesmino joins us with the latest.
In a Truth Social post on Saturday, former President Donald Trump said he expects to be arrested on Tuesday.
I think it's not speculation. It's something that we're hearing. He needs to get ahead of it.
While there's no official word yet from the Manhattan District Attorney's office, grand jury proceedings are nearing the end, with the last-minute witness set to testify Monday at the request of Trump's legal team, according to a source familiar with the investigation.
This would be historically groundbreaking moves for a misdemeanor to try and bring it up to a charge where you're arraigning a former president.
Trump is being investigated for his role in an alleged hush money scheme involving payments made in 2016 by his then attorney Michael Cohen to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. An indictment would be a historic first and could make Trump an even more divisive figure on the campaign trail.
It does drastically change the paradigm as we go into the 24 election.
Echoing his calls for action after the 2020 election, Trump told his social media followers to, quote, protest and take our nation back.
If was this to happen, we want calmness out there.
Federal, state, and local authorities now preparing for the possibility of unrest.
We're always monitoring the situation here as best we can, and we obviously don't want to see any activity grow violent.
In New York, I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
All right, happening today, a heads up for those wanting to vote in the upcoming Board of Election and municipal election in April. Today's the deadline to request an absentee ballot. Your ballot must be requested no later than 5 this afternoon, and Election Day is set for April 4th.
New this morning, a heads up for businesses in Moore. Check your money for fakes. Police there say counterfeit bills are circulating throughout businesses right now. The Moore Police Department sharing this image here of one of the fake $100 bills. In this case, a business received the $100 bill, then attempted to buy breakfast elsewhere for their office when it was caught. Officers say the attention is in the details and to check your large bills. All right, we're midway through Oklahoma's legislative session, and today we'll be speaking live with House Speaker Charles McCall to get an update on where bills currently stand.
We're dry right now, but rain's going to move in later tonight. I'll show you the timeline and then the risk of severe weather that's coming in later this week.
You're watching KOCO 5 News at 9 with Shelby Cashman, Alejandra Briones, and meteorologist Jonathan Conder. KOCO 5 News will be right back. When severe weather threatens, trust the first alert to keep you prepared. Forecasting the storm days ahead. Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane, Morning Meteorologist Jonathan Conder, and the First Alert Weather Team with advanced technology, tracking severe risks in your neighborhood. At a moment's notice, we mobilize. We face the storm to keep you safe. Your certified most accurate forecast on air and on the app. Be as ready for severe weather season as we are. Trust First Alert Weather on KOCO 5.
All right, welcome back. 9/11 here on your Monday. We are getting to headlines right now. Things are moving along at the Oklahoma State Capitol during this legislative session, and we're reaching a halfway point. And we know you all have questions about important decisions being made for our state. So here with us this morning to give us the latest update is Oklahoma House Speaker Charles McCall. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Of course. Great to be with you.
Sounds good. So let's just get right into it. The House and Senate both have some different plans proposed for education here in Oklahoma. Do you expect the House to pass some of these bills that are being proposed?
We have not received the Senate bills as of yet in the House. This is a deadline week at the Capitol for all bills that originated in the House of Representatives. After this week, we'll see what the Senate sends over to us to take those up in committee work. But on education, I think that's going to be a point of discussion that we'll have through the entire session, and I feel like we'll find a solution that suits everyone.
All right, and I know that the education plan right now, do you think that in a way to continue this bipartisan sentiment there in the Capitol, it is possible to come up with that plan soon?
Yeah, I do. Of course, we favor the House's plan in the House. We really look to make sure that policy works well in the entire state of Oklahoma in the House. The House's plan, every kid, every teacher, every parent, every school in the state wins, and we like that message. And we like that approach.
All right, and we want to move on to the State Board of Education and those bills that limit the state superintendent's power to change accreditation status. Do you see that becoming a law here?
Well, I think the House and the Senate have introduced several bills, Kylie, that will look at changing the makeup of these boards and commissions, having some appointments maybe from the legislature rather than all of them coming from the governor and the executive branch. We're certainly looking at and having discussions with the State Board of Education regarding the separation of power. It is the legislature under the state's constitution that has the authority for setting the laws and the budgets for the state of Oklahoma. And agencies have to be careful about going too far with their rulemaking.
And I know that medical marijuana has been on top of minds for a lot of people and possibly changing legislation here in Oklahoma. Do you agree with that? What do you think is the state of medical marijuana here in Oklahoma right now?
Well, I was very surprised on the outcome of State Question 820. I thought it would be a much closer decision than it actually turned out to be. We'll continue to work through medical marijuana in the state. That is still the law here in the state. The state is catching up on its regulatory framework. We've really been focusing the last couple of years on cracking down on illegal grows across the state of Oklahoma. And so we'll continue to move forward with the law that we have, and there'll be several bills, I think, advanced this session as well, addressing medical marijuana.
All right, and we've seen a bill proposing the banning of corporal punishment in Oklahoma schools. Do you think that is a bill that would pass here in the House, or what are your thoughts on that bill right now?
Right now, the bill failed on its first vote in the House last week. There was a lot of questions and debate over the children's status that is in the bill currently. I know we'll be talking again about it in our caucus meetings this morning before this afternoon. But if that bill is to come back up, it will have to be taken back up by today.
And I know last time we talked to you about the state grocery tax, the plan for to abolish that. Do you see that happening this session? And if so, how do you think the state will make up with the income coming from that tax?
There's going to be several tax reform bills that advance. The grocery tax will be one of those. I will be advancing a version that installs a 2-year moratorium on the grocery tax here in the state of Oklahoma to give our citizens a little bit of a reprieve from the inflation that they're experiencing. We'll look at that as well as income tax cuts and some other restructures of both personal income tax and business taxes in the state.
So the state has moved to this session to restrict gender-affirming care. Where do you think the Republican caucus right now is on that subject?
Well, I think you'll see the Republican caucus stay in the same vein of making sure that children reach the age of majority before they make those decisions that are life-changing and altering for them.
And I know some of these bills not everyone agrees with. So what would you tell Oklahomans today?
Well, once again, I think we are, our view of it is we want to protect children in the state of Oklahoma. And some of these decisions, we restrict several things based upon age in the state, whether it's consuming alcohol, owning a handgun, and to us, it makes sense to protect children and make sure that they are adults before they make some of these decisions that can impact the rest of their lives.
Are there any other bills that we didn't discuss that you would like people to know more about?
Oh, those are, I would say, the most prevalent and ones of interest to the people. But we'll be taking up probably 50 bills a day through this Thursday. And then once again, everything that does not pass the floor, Kylie, will freeze in its position, and we'll take those up again next year.
All right, House Speaker Charles McCall, thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure.
We are going to toss it over to Jonathan for a look at the weather.
We'll get ready for a nice warm up. Today is the first day of spring. The equinox is at 4:24 this afternoon, Central Daylight Time, and we will actually see a nice little warm up the next couple days, but it will be breezy. Notice that the clouds are starting to thicken up. They're thin, high clouds, so filtered sunshine right now. Still a wind chill of 33 up in the Stillwater area, so definitely brisk out there, but now 40 degrees in Enid, 40 down in Altus, 39 popular number right now. Edmond, Midwest City, Norman, Purcell, 41 in Chickasha. So we'll be 50 by lunch. I don't know if you're having lunch on the patio today. You can try, but it's going to be brisk. South winds 25 to 30, gusts a little bit higher than that. For example, OKC will have gusts 35 near 40, and then that's orange. And then red would be 40, a little bit higher. 45 should be top of the mark, not quite at that level that we get a wind advisory for today, but nonetheless, it would be windy for sure. Highs in the 50s, that's higher than we had yesterday. Notice that we're dry across Oklahoma right now. First alert Doppler, you can see there's targets out in West Texas, New Mexico. Those showers not necessarily coming into Oklahoma, but what's making that rain will come into Oklahoma. So we'll have rain developing overhead tonight. Some scattered showers, 60% chance. It will be light for Oklahoma City, maybe a 10th at best. As you move up the turnpike towards Tulsa, they would have and there's 7 a.m. The darker the shades, the heavier the rain. So clearly east of the metro getting the heavier rain, and then that moves out tomorrow morning. Then we're dry in the afternoon. Good news, overnight lows are well above freezing. You don't have to worry about any ice for tonight, which is great. And tomorrow, not bad, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Eastern Oklahoma will be much, much colder. They'll be kind of stuck with the clouds. Western Oklahoma, more sun, much warmer. Here's what you need to know. Big warm up, 70s and 80s. Watch Thursday. Our next risk. Wednesday is a one-hit wonder. You just get one chance at it. There's that 60% chance of rain tomorrow morning, then another 60% chance on Thursday, and blinking red icon means there is a risk. There's a front coming in, two fronts actually, and so where they move in and collide is where we'll have that risk of severe weather. So we put a red panel there on Thursday. It is a level 2 risk. What does this mean? A risk category 1 out of 5 for the amount of damage reports. It's a 2. It is all threats, but this looks mostly like a hail event for us. The winds don't. There's nothing screaming right now that says a lot of tornadoes. To me, it looks like a low tornado risk for Thursday. Some of that rain may linger into Friday morning. And good news, your weekend is dry with highs in the 60s. And that is your latest 5+ 5 day forecast.
All right, 9:22. Let's take a look outside. This is our Johnson Controls cam giving us a look at the Norman and Moore areas. Traffic looks to be moving smooth. Jonathan has a check of the weather because I know it's a bit chilly out there. But right now, here are your headlines. New this morning, tomorrow, a fundraiser benefit will be held for a McAlester police officer fighting for his life.
Officer Joseph Barlow was assisting in the funeral procession of McAlester Police Captain Richard Parker, whose passing was announced last Thursday. Barlow's vehicle was hit head-on during the procession. The driver was arrested and booked into jail with charges of causing an accident without a driver's license, causing great bodily injury, driving without a license, and reckless driving. Barlow remains in critical condition after multiple surgeries at a Tulsa hospital. So this is a picture of Joseph Barlow shared with us by the Muskogee Nation Light Horse Police Department. McAllister's Elks Lodge announced it will hold a benefit fundraiser on March 21st from 5:30 to 9 p.m. All proceeds will be donated to the Barlow family account at First National Bank. The event is open to the public.
All right, looking ahead, a vote on a new type of public virtual Catholic charter school is set to take place tomorrow. The Archdiocese says it wants to add this virtual option as a way to reach more Oklahomans. And if approved, it would be paid for with your tax dollars. So when asked why not make it a private virtual option, the Archdiocese said parents are more likely to enroll if they don't have to pay tuition.
If we're competing against all other virtual schools, but all of the other ones are free, that's a problem, you know. So, and the taxpayer dollars are paying for all of those others, but our parents are paying taxes too.
One of the most fundamental principles of religious freedom is that the government should never tax any of its citizens to pay for someone else's religion.
Opponents say granting the application would be unconstitutional and that charter schools, by definition, are public schools, and public schools cannot promote or require specific religion. The vote scheduled for tomorrow.
Ford is recalling more than 1.2 million vehicles due to potentially faulty brakes. The recall includes Fusion and Lincoln MKZ models from the years 2013 through 2017, plus a few from 2018. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says their brake hoses can leak fluid, making it harder to stop the vehicles. Authorities say only about 2% of the cars have that problem, and Ford only knows of one accident with no reported injuries. But the administration says it's a good idea to swap out the brake fluid hoses in all vehicles that have them. Ford says it will do that for free at their dealerships. Recalled eye drops have been linked to dozens of dangerous infections and at least one death. The CDC identified 68 patients in 16 states with infections from Global Farm Healthcare's artificial tears lubricant eye drops. The artificial tears were first recalled in February, and according to the CDC, patients were infected by a rare strain of drug-resistant bacteria never before reported in the U.S., resulting in 8 people losing vision. Some of Gerber's infant formula also being recalled. Perrigo, the company that makes Gerber's formula, is recalling some of its Gerber Good Start Soothe Pro powdered infant formula because it may be contaminated with bacteria. The formula was made between January 2nd and 18th of this year. The company says no products have shown any signs of contamination and no one has become sick, but they are doing a voluntary recall out of abundance of caution. Customers can just toss it out or ask the company for a refund. An Oklahoma City church has voted to end its affiliation with the United Methodist Church denomination. Why and the next steps for the church from here, that's coming up next.
And we need your help to find the best teachers in the metro. You can nominate someone today for this month's Teacher of the Month. The winner will get $1,000 for their project on DonorsChoose.org.
Trust matters to us because it matters to you. With live coverage that informs and breaking news that alerts. From Norman and Moore to Enid and Crescent. Investigating local issues impacting Oklahomans. The most accurate forecast that prepares you. And first alert weather that keeps you safe. Earning your trust with live, local, late-breaking coverage. That is the KOCO 5 difference. Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 9.
A very good morning to you, Oklahoma. It's 9:30 on your Monday. I'm Shelby Montgomery.
And I'm Kylie Walker. We have meteorologist Jonathan Condor here at the desk with us this morning. Jonathan, breezy and cool, okay?
Brisk.
Start to summer, or start to spring.
Oh, I wish it was summer, but
I suppose.
It's a Monday. It's okay.
Thinking of summer. It's spring, but it's cold outside.
It is the equinox today, and so there is a warm-up coming. It is kind of short-lived.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. Big difference. I mean, we went from teens and 20s yesterday morning. We'll have 80, we'll have Wednesdays, but we got to get through this morning. It's still brisk. Wind chills are near and below freezing in spots. It will still, you'll need a jacket today. I think you already know that. If you watched us earlier, that's why we do our what to wear, windbreaker, because of the chill out there. It's 40 degrees in Clinton and Enid. Looking outside, some filtered sunshine, some high clouds, south winds at 20 miles an hour. Yeah, it's going to be breezy today. So by noon, kind of partly cloudy, clouds increase, winds come up 2 by 3, sustained at about 30, gusting 35 to 40. So at least we'll be warmer than yesterday in the 50s. Radar is pretty quiet right now. We have a little bit of rain out west of Lubbock. That is not the rain that's moving in, But what's making that rain happen now will make rain happen for Oklahoma later tonight. 60% chance. Good news is just rain, no ice, no snow, no severe weather. Then the big warm up, you know that's coming. But with it, some severe weather on Thursday. We'll take a look at that risk coming up here in a few minutes.
All right, now to some of the biggest headlines of the day, starting here in Oklahoma. An Oklahoma City church ending its relationship with the United Methodist Church domination.
So St. Luke's overwhelmingly voted to disaffiliate, with more than 1,200 saying yes to leave. In a press release, church officials listed multiple reasons for separating from the UMC, including financial problems and ineffectiveness of the denomination. This Thursday, St. Luke's will be considered by a board of trustees to go before the Oklahoma Annual Conference for a final vote next month. Trending in national news, for the first time in history, a former president of the United States could be indicted for a crime. This comes as a grand jury investigation into crimes alleged to have been committed by Donald Trump is set to end. In a post on social media this weekend, former President Trump said he expects to be arrested tomorrow. But so far, there's been no official word from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office regarding that grand jury investigation, though a last-minute witness is set to testify today at the request of Trump's legal team.
This would be historically groundbreaking moves for a misdemeanor to try and bring it up to a charge where you're arraigning a former president.
Trump is being investigated for his role in an alleged hush money scheme involving payments made in 2016 by his then attorney, Michael Cohen, to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. So this comes as prosecutors in Georgia are considering bringing racketeering and conspiracy charges in connection with efforts to overturn the 2020 election. A source with knowledge of the investigation says investigators have substantial evidence, including recordings of phone calls, emails, text documents, and testimony. A special grand jury heard from 75 witnesses, ultimately recommending issuing multiple indictments in the case.
At least 13 people are dead after an earthquake hit Ecuador over the weekend. The number of people injured, meanwhile, has risen to more than 460. There have been homes, schools, medical centers, and highways damaged. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake impacted 4 provinces of Ecuador. Many people out there left without homes, while those who haven't lost their homes are still worried about their potential for further damage.
We don't sleep. We're worried standing guard in the street because we're pretty scared that there are going to be aftershocks.
Ecuador's president has made emergency funding available, with military troops available to help as well. And trending in business, in the latest efforts to stem a multinational banking crisis, Swiss investment bank UBS is poised to purchase its struggling rival Credit Suisse.
So that news coming as the U.S. and the world's central bank come together to inject more U.S. dollars into the global banking system for borrowing, and as financial regulators take action to shore up some troubled U.S. regional banks. ABC's Justin Finch with more from Washington.
A buyer is stepping up to acquire Signature Bank, one of 2 failed regional banks the FDIC recently took over. New York Community Bank agreeing to purchase Signature for more than $2 billion. Now Silicon Valley Bank awaits a new buyer, as ABC News confirms the Federal Reserve was aware of years' worth of risks at SVB. In 2021, the Fed cited key risks to the bank, including how it handled liquidity. And last July, the Fed rated the bank deficient for governance and controls. The Fed now conducting an internal review.
These big multi-billion-dollar banks loaded up on risk. They gave themselves huge bonuses and big salaries, and they exploded their banks.
Across the U.S., a new report finds at least 186 banks could be at risk for failing if half of account holders quickly withdrew their funds. Those findings come as First Republic Bank sees its credit rating downgraded again, despite 11 large U.S. banks offering a $30 billion lifeline. From the U.S. to Switzerland, regulators taking extraordinary swift measures to boost the world's banking system.
UBS intends to downsize Credit Suisse's investment banking business and align it with our conservative risk culture.
The Swiss government brokering a deal for UBS to buy embattled rival Credit Suisse for $3 billion. And here in the U.S., Fed Chair Jerome Powell and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen are calling the UBS Credit Suisse deal a solution for financial stability and to protect the global economy. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Trending in health, healthcare officials are concerned about the shortage of a prescription drug used to treat type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, experts say telehealth and social media are playing a significant role in driving the demand for Ozempic. Diabetic patients rely on it to help control their blood sugar. But Ozempic also holds more than 40% of the U.S. market share of drugs that mimic an appetite-regulating hormone. Some experts believe the prescription weight loss drug market is also a part of what's driving Ozempic's popularity, and the FDA announced a shortage of Ozempic back in August. And trending in tech, Facebook and Instagram users in the U.S. will soon be able to pay to get their blue check on their account.
Meta has started testing a paid verification option for users of the two social networks. The company plans to roll out the paid option to more users over the next few weeks. The verified status starts at $11.99 a month on the web or $14.99 a month on mobile. So this comes after Twitter started a similar feature after Elon Musk took over the company. Now trending in science, scientists in Japan have discovered a new species of orchid.
Yeah, check it out. The pink and white blooms of the flower are so delicate and fragile that they look like they were spun from glass. It was identified in parks, gardens, and planters in Tokyo. The newly described flower is a neighbor to the populations of related orchid common in the country. According to scientists, it's an important reminder that unknown species are often living right under our noses. And trending in entertainment, a little over 25 years since the original Nickelodeon film is set to get a sequel.
Well, Variety reports Good Burger 2 will begin production in May with the planned release on streaming platform Paramount Plus later this year. Star Kenan Thompson calls working on a sequel, quote, surreal. It started as a sketch on All That before becoming a film in 1997, becoming a cult favorite. Thompson and Kel Mitchell are both set to reprise their roles from the original. I always say, welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger.
Can I take your order?
Exactly. Do you like your hot sauce and pickles? If so, then this one's for you.
Yeah, Shelby, this one's for you. Frank's Red Hot revealed the dill pickle flavor of hot sauce. They describe it as, quote, the ultimate blend of flavor, heat with a dilly, tangy, pickly twist. They suggest using it on popcorn, chicken nuggets, or French fries, and this hot sauce is available now, but not in stores. The company is only selling it on their website. Oklahoma getting represented on the national stage in American Idol. Up next, we'll bring you the story of a Lawton native who's made his way onto the show.
It's dry right now. Stay that way most of the day, but rain will come in tonight. I'm going to time that out. Then I'll get you ready for our next risk of severe weather that's going to hit on Thursday.
All right, let's take a look outside. 9:41 here on your Monday morning. Family Leisure Cam giving us this really beautiful look. I think that's Lake Hefner. Shelby, is that Lake Hefner?
You have to bring me into this. I think so.
Well, it looks gorgeous out there, but we do know it's pretty chilly. Jonathan Condor has a check on the weather, but right now, let's get to those headlines. From small town Oklahoma to the big stage, a Lawton native trying to make his mark on American Idol.
So you see him right there, PJ, getting the chance to shine at his American Idol audition thanks to his social media. He first auditioned online, made it to the next level, and then auditioned in front of judges.
I think this is the beginning of something really amazing for you. I want to vote first. It's a yes.
Top 24.
Wow. Definitely.
That's me playing it safe right now.
Wow.
So I'm a yes, because you got to get there.
And Luke.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. 1, 2, 3, PJ.
You're going to Hollywood.
I'm sure that was surreal. PJ says that moment was unbelievable, and he wasn't the only Oklahoman going to Hollywood. Oklahoma State University students Owen Eckert and Colt Glover received golden tickets as well. The OSU president sharing the congratulations online. That's amazing. Look at that. People achieving their dreams.
I mean, American Idol, that's huge. All right, we want to get on a check of the weather with meteorologist Jonathan Condor. Jonathan, I know they might be going to Hollywood where the sun's out. It's probably 70-something degrees. I don't know. You know better than I do. But what's the weather look like out here today?
Changing.
Changing.
I like
Changing.
it.
Cold now. We got big warm up coming. We have 80s on the way. And then also severe weather. We got a lot of changes coming at us. A little breezy out there this morning. It's 40 right now in Enid and 43 up in Stillwater. Temperatures here, a lot of lower 40s now. That's good. We're getting there. 41 Edmond, Bethany, 42 over in El Reno. Looking outside, yeah, that is Lake Hefner. That's looking down Britton Road. This is our tower camera here. Notice we have a lot of high clouds, so not a lot of moisture. You'll see filtered sunshine. Eventually, these clouds will get thicker and thicker. All right, you can kind of see these clouds. Satellite imagery here where the map is black, skies are blue. There's some high clouds over us. Those are low clouds down near Wichita Falls. More clouds coming in from the west. Now, we'll see enough sunshine to bump our numbers up higher than yesterday. We were only in the 40s yesterday. Today we'll get in the 50s, but it's going to get windy. South winds 20 to 30, gusting. My rule of thumb is usually add 10 from the maximum speed to you get the gust. So I'd put gusts for the metro 35 to 40, and then 40 plus up in northwestern Oklahoma, but not quite in the criteria to get a wind advisory. But now you know, it's going to be breezy today. Highs will be in the 50s, and we're dry during the day, sunset at 7:41. Now, you notice there is some rain west of Lubbock. That's our next weather maker. It moves over us tonight, and it will create rain. It'll make for rain, developing right over central Oklahoma. It will move to the northeast. No blinking red icons, no risk. It's going to be a very light rain. And so again, watching 10 o'clock tonight, pretty quiet, not much on radar. There it is, 3 in the morning, starts as very light rain, some scattered showers. Now, western Oklahoma, you probably don't get anything. OKC, 1/10 of an inch at best. That's being really optimistic. But as you get down the road, move towards the northeast, towards Tulsa, they'd have a 1/4 inch of rain. We'll have more rain coming in on Thursday, but that rain looks like storms, hail, severe risk. Now, tomorrow morning, only down the 40s. And then tomorrow, eastern Oklahoma, you're going to be stuck in the clouds. It'll be in the 50s. Western Oklahoma, a lot more sunshine, drier, into the 70s. And here's what you really need to know. I got 80 coming in on Wednesday. Then a risk on Thursday, and that risk does include OKC. So anytime we have a risk, we put a red panel on the 5+5 day, and then I'll show you what that risk is. So the risk on Thursday right now, it's a level 2 out of 5 for the amount of damage reports. So northern Oklahoma, low risk, more numerous storms south. Will this get upgraded? Likely. We're 4 days out. Where? Southern Oklahoma. If anything, this is mostly a hail and wind event. If there is a tornado risk, as of right now, it looks low. We'll watch it very closely. And those storms move out so this is an afternoon, evening. So I'd say from 3 p.m. to about midnight for the KOCO viewing area. Some of that could linger. Some of the rain could linger into Friday morning, but then Friday afternoon we turn dry. And then we get into your weekend a lot warmer than this last weekend, right? We'll have 60s this weekend and dry, and more 60s for next week. And that is your latest 5+5 day forecast.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. It's a disease that impacts roughly 190 million women worldwide. It's painful and can cause infertility. So this morning, we have Dr. Jessica Putman with OU Health joining us to talk about it. I just mentioned this impacts millions of women. Can you explain what endometriosis is?
Yes, so it's where the tissue that normally lines the uterus is found outside of the uterus. And so usually it can affect more commonly the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, and the lining of the pelvis, although it can be anywhere in the abdominal cavity. And just like the tissue in your uterus responds to your hormones every month and builds up and then you shed it during your period, all these endometriosis spots do the same thing, except they don't have anywhere to go. And so it causes a lot of inflammation and irritation at those spots, and that can cause pain and things to stick together that shouldn't.
So what are other symptoms besides the pain? And we can get to infertility in just a little bit, but what are all the symptoms of endometriosis?
So definitely the most common symptom is pelvic pain, usually related to periods. So not just pain like take some ibuprofen and you're feeling better, but pain that keeps you from going and doing your normal activities, work, school, things like that. You can also have pain with intercourse, sometimes painful bowel movements or urination, and then infertility is another big symptom that we see.
So what is the rate of infertility with endometriosis?
Yeah, so about 1/3 up to 1/2 of patients with endometriosis can experience difficulty getting pregnant, but thankfully there are ways that we can try and help those people, so that doesn't necessarily mean they won't be able to achieve that in the future.
So as someone with endometriosis myself, it took me over 10 years to finally get diagnosed, to have a doctor listen to me. Why is it so hard to diagnose?
Yeah, so I'm sorry that took so long for you. It takes that long for a lot of patients. And so the issue is is that we don't really have a test that says yes or no. There's not a blood test. And when we do imaging, like an ultrasound or MRI, these endometriosis spots are so small that we can't see them. So really you have to definitively know that you have it, do have a surgery, look inside your abdomen with the camera, take some of that tissue and look at it under a microscope to confirm.
So what are some treatments if a woman has endometriosis?
Yeah, so usually our first treatments, we're really trying to work on, relieving those symptoms. So a lot of times we start with pain medications or hormonal medications. And then sometimes if those aren't working, we move towards surgery.
What is the surgery like? A little invasive, but you do a minimally invasive surgery.
That's right. So all of the surgeries that I do are minimally invasive or laparoscopic or robotic. So they're really small incisions about the size of about a thumbnail. And so we can look in with the camera and actually use instruments to remove it that way so that you don't have a lot of scarring or as extensive of a surgery.
What is recovery like if you do decide to go that route?
Yeah, so I would say the average patient takes about 2 to 4 weeks off of work depending on what they're doing. And most patients can get back to work after that, with some lifting restrictions. It lasts a little bit longer. For the most part, they do really well.
So there are treatments for it, but ultimately no cure.
That's right. Unfortunately, we don't have a cure for endometriosis. And I think a lot of that has to do with we're not exactly sure why some women get it and some don't. And so we don't know what to exactly attack to sort of cure it. So we do our best to maintain, patients' quality of life and decrease their symptoms with these medications and or surgery when indicated.
And going back to the infertility, would you say the surgery is the best option? Should women just try first with their partner and then consider the surgery?
Thankfully, the majority of patients with endometriosis, a little over 50% probably can conceive without any issues. So I think it's definitely an option to try that first. And if you're struggling and you have this diagnosis, to seek out help with your fertility to make sure that you're not taking so long until you get to what your goal is, a pregnancy.
A lot of great information there for women who may even consider that they might have it.
Yeah.
Go talk to your doctor. You can discuss options if you do have endometriosis. But I want to thank you for being here today just to tell us all about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more news after the break.
KOCO 5 News, sponsored locally by Jim Norton Toyota.
All right, let's take a look outside. Grand Casino Cam giving us a look out there at the Shawnee and McLeod areas. It looks beautiful, but we do know that it might still be a little on the the chill side today. Jonathan Conder has a check on the weather coming up, but first, here are your headlines. A first alert traffic update for drivers and embark passengers this morning. Starting today, construction is set to take place that will impact the transit center. Bays L, Q, and I will temporarily be relocated to routes 12 and 14. Now, this construction will also impact those with no mobility devices. So check with Embark for the most up-to-date details.
Looking ahead to Wednesday, which is World Water Day. To celebrate the day, the city of Norman is having a taste test and tour. The CDC says it's a day to promote the responsible use of water and access to safe water for everyone. The event will be at the Vernon Campbell Water Treatment Plant. You will be able to drink the water and get a look at the facility. In order to attend, you do have to sign up. We have a link for that in the As Seen On section of the free KOCO app.
And for those looking for a summer job, the Mustang Parks and Recreations Department is having a job fair starting today. It's being held from 10 to 4 p.m. in the next 2 days from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So the city's looking for lifeguards, swim teachers, camp counselors, and more. You must be at least 16 years old, and you can apply online at the City of Mustang website, then show up to interview.
There's still time to sign up for Kristen Chenoweth's Broadway Boot Camp in Broken Arrow. The annual event, hosted by the Oklahoma native, will take place at the Broken Arrow Performing Arts Center. Applications are due Friday, March 24th. Students in grades 8 through 12 are invited to apply, and that event does happen in July. All right, let's send things over to meteorologist Jonathan Conder.
Well, temperatures are still coming up. Now 44 here in OKC and 45 in Stillwater. Looking outside, oh boy, tower cam is shaking. South winds at the surface at 16, but they're going to pick up 20, 25, 30 miles an hour. Clouds increase. Highs will be in the mid to upper 50s today. We're dry today. And then we'll have rain coming in later. When I mean later, I mean like later, like after midnight. So about 3 to 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, central Oklahoma has a 60% chance of some scattered showers. It's pretty light, a tenth maybe for the metro if you get rain at best, and then more up near Tulsa. And then we have Thursday. There's a risk. It's a red panel. The risk is all threats, but the more I look at it, it looks more like a more like a hail and wind threat. The tornado risk, it's going to be way down south, southeastern Oklahoma. Nonetheless, we'll be watching it closely. Then we'll get that out of the way. Your weekend looks dry in the 60s, and next week looks pretty good. Highs in the 60s also. That is your latest 5+5 day forecast.
All right, before we head out this morning, we want to give a KOCO high five to Bixby's marching band.
You can see behind us, they were named as the overall winners of the 51st Limerick International Band Championship. They represented Oklahoma on Friday at Dublin, Ireland during a St. Patrick's Day parade. And here's video that they shared on Facebook. The Pride of Owasso was the 3rd marching band in that parade.
That's so awesome. We all played instruments and we never got to do anything like that, but you know, good for them. That'd be awesome. All right, what's the weather going to be like for the rest of today? Still cold, then we move into some warmer 80s on Wednesday.
So one day. You get one day where it's really, really warm.
Get
the
out
price to pay, the big winds today and tomorrow, Wednesday, and then severe weather on Thursday.
Severe weather on Thursday. Make sure you tune into KOCO. We'll be tracking that weather all day. But for now, we'll leave you with a live look outside. It's going to be a nice cold one. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, bright and early.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Bob Mills Furniture. Thank you for watching KOCO 5. Get caught up on local news, originals, and more. Download the Very Local app now and stream for free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.